All right, it's time for social studies again. Remember, this week is a review week, and we're looking at the topics, the standards that we scored the lowest on the benchmark in each subject. So, yesterday we talked about some accomplishments of Benjamin Franklin. Today, one of the ones that you scored lower on actually was the Declaration of Independence. So I was a little surprised at that, but it's been a while, like I said. So this is standard 4.06. It says, determine the historical and present day significance of the Declaration of Independence, including the roles of Thomas Jefferson and John Hancock. So we're basically about the Declaration of Independence. Now, let's take a look at the questions you had to answer on the benchmark test, and let's see what the right answer would have been. So this one was the one you scored lowest on of any other question on the social studies benchmark. And I bet I know what you did. We'll talk about it in a minute. It just says, what was the purpose of the Declaration of Independence, freedom? Okay, it created a new government for the colonies. I bet you chose that one because we just finished up talking about government, and the Constitution made a new government for the colonies. And I bet you saw Declaration of Independence and thought Constitution. You've got to know the difference between those two. The Declaration of Independence told King George, we want to be free. Then after we were free and after we won the Revolutionary War, then we wrote the Constitution, which created a new government. So the Declaration of Independence did nothing about creating a government for our colonies. Okay, so I'm guessing that a lot of you chose that one. You probably remember if you did. The correct answer is actually the second choice. The Declaration of Independence explained why the colonies wanted to be, here's the key word, free of British rule. Independence means freedom. Freedom. It was a declaration of our freedom from British rule. So, like I said, I'm sure you chose that one. I'm sure a lot of you chose that one. The correct answer, though, is the Declaration of Independence told England, King George, hey, we want to be free from all of your rules and all your laws and all your taxes. So try to get that in your head, okay? The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, two very different things, two very important documents. The Declaration of Independence came first, declaring our freedom from England. And then after we won the Revolutionary War and we were a new country, then we wrote the Constitution to create our new government. So try to remember those right there. Now, this one is a little hard. I won't lie. This question's hard. You had to choose three people that wrote the Declaration of Independence. It is hard to remember all these names. I know it is, but I would guarantee you that you chose Thomas Jefferson because we watched that video and we talked about it. Too late to apologize. I have it on one of the slides, and we talked about how it was Thomas Jefferson who wrote the Declaration of Independence. We talked about that many times. So I am pretty sure you chose Thomas Jefferson. But it might be hard to remember the other ones. Hopefully you would have chosen Benjamin Franklin. He is one of the other guys who helps write the Declaration of Independence. Now, there's no doubt Thomas Jefferson was in charge. He was the main author of the Declaration of Independence. But we didn't talk a lot about who else helped him, and that's probably why you didn't do well on this. And I don't know that you would have remembered anyway. Like I said, this is a hard question. But one of them was Benjamin Franklin, and the other one was John Adams. So the three you should have chosen on this was John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson. John Adams was like a lawyer, and so he knew a lot about legal terms and law, and so he could help do that. Benjamin Franklin, of course, a very wise man who had a lot of experience with other countries and dealing with other countries, so he was helpful. Patrick Henry, we talked about him. Remember, he is the one who said, give me liberty or give me death. Remember that? Okay. So he was important too, but he didn't help write the Declaration. Paul Revere, here, the British are coming, the British are coming. He was important, but not a writer of the Declaration. All these names probably kind of jumbled together in your head. I understand that. That was hard to pick the three there. And then the other question, according to the Declaration of Independence, which group gives the government its power? Or remember under when we were under British rule, who was in charge? It was the king. But now we're free, independent from having a king. So we know the king is not going to give us a power. Is it the church that gives government its power? In England, the church played an important role in the government, but not so much here. Military, well, in some countries, whoever's the strongest might be in charge, but that's not what we wanted in our country. We wanted the government to given its power by the people. Now, how do we? You're a people. You're a person in the United States. I'm a person in the United States. How do we give government power? Think about it. How do those people in the government get their positions? The people vote for them. We just had an election. So the president, if we ever figure out who it's going to be, it looks like it'll probably be Joe Biden, but there's a lot of questions about that still, I guess. But the people choose who they want to be their leaders in government. So it's the people, not any of these other groups, that the Declaration of Independence says should be in charge and giving the government its power. Otherwise, it becomes a tyranny, and the government's just like having a king again. All right, so what you're going to do today to review these things is first, this is this is so full of information. It goes over every one of these questions, actually. And it's less than 10 minutes long, so I want you to watch this. It's just a history on the Declaration of Independence. Please watch it in its entirety. Watch it from beginning to end. And then You're Too Late to Apologize song. And then the Schoolhouse Rock song about the Declaration of Independence called Fireworks. So please simply watch these three things today and review the Declaration of Independence. We'll see you tomorrow.